Well, he returns. Day 9 of Vlog 9. So, this is not day 9. I just got that real wrong. But, this is Vlog 9. So, I took a little break, meaning I ran into some technical difficulties and then gave up. So, that's the real answer. I had recorded some stuff in cinematic mode, and I've learned not to do that. I couldn't edit very well because of it, so it took a lot longer than I expected. I am just getting done with the gym. I've been working on the background. I worked on the website the past couple of days for the media business. I have the domain bought, have pretty much the website finished up, has some key detail things I need to go over, change some wording. I don't know what kind of marketing I'm going to do yet. I don't know if I'm going to do a lot of guerrilla marketing or if I'm going to do just standard marketing with advertising, build some connections that way. Just reach out to everybody I know. Hey, do you know anybody who has a podcast? Would love to have a talk with them, whatever that looks like. That's probably the first step I'm going to take. My friend Ethan, he has a guy that he knows that he's pretty close with, has a good podcast. Have some connections with some churches and some other people that I would like to reach out to. I'm trying to build my ideal target market for these people, and I would like to be able to work with people that I think are, not just fluff, like good people that actually have good information that they're sharing and will, make a difference for the future. And it follows in line with my core beliefs with Christianity and things like that, success and all those things. And I'm going back to the topic on the last video, talking about what do I think success means, or how is it defined. And I don't know. I did this thing at church. I might link part of it in here, but I did like a Sunday school thing where I talk about like right and wrong thinking. There's a book by Kenneth Hagin called Right and Wrong Thinking, and I was responsible for teaching on a section of that book. And the breakdown of the book is essentially, are you going to have a winning mindset or are you going to have a loser mindset? And he brings that to Christianity, where it talks about having the mind of Christ and things like that. And your mind is on good things. You should be grateful for things. Like, you should be thinking about the good things. And if you're only thinking about the good things, you're only thinking about good things to come. And so, yeah, the book is similar to Power Positive Thinking, that kind of Bob Proctor kind of thinking, what your mind can believe, it can achieve, that sort of thing. And the guy makes specific reference to that, and he's like, it's not that. It's the Bible says to be grateful for things. In Romans, I believe 8:37, it says we are more than conquerors. And all these things, we are more than conquerors. So the idea is that God wants abundant for us. He said he would pour out his riches and glory about on the earth. I forget exactly everything he references. I could probably bring it up. Yeah, so Matthew 12:34, he talks about that one. And he talks about Romans 8:37. And I believe there's an Isaiah in there somewhere. Philippians 4:8 says having the mind of Christ. Or Philippians 2:5, talking about the mind of Christ. Isaiah 26:3 talks about that will keep him in perfect peace in whose mind is stayed on thee. So yeah, it talks about that. It also talks about the Israelites going into the promised land. God promised them the land, but they were not able to take it because they were not obeying Christ, or not Christ. They were not obeying God, even though that they were promised the land. And the only people that ended up actually going into the land are the people that were saying that they could go into the land. Everybody else who said, all the 12, so there was 12 spies, 10 of the spies couldn't go into the land because they were living in doubt and unbelief, and that they said that they couldn't do it, therefore God didn't let them do it. And he waited for them to die out before they can go inhabit the land. And Joshua and Caleb were the only ones that actually could go into the land. So it's very interesting to kind of have the mind of Christ. I feel like the Lord kind of gave me an illustration about, a winning mentality. There's, you can't, if this book is wrong, okay, let's just say it's wrong, completely wrong. Let's say the Bible is wrong, just for sake of argument. I don't believe it is, but just for the sake of argument, we'll say it is. What are you going to lose if it is wrong? So what I mean by that is, if you have the best attitude in the world and, bedridden sickness, whatever it is, and you have the best attitude in the world, like, I'm going to get better, I'm going to get better, I'm going to get better, I'm going to get better. And, you're just tenaciously not giving up. And you don't get better. And that's it. I don't believe that's, a typical scenario. But let's just say that this is the scenario for this case, because this is what people are afraid of. This is the fear that people face. They're afraid to be wrong and to face people seeing them be wrong. And so say they believe that they're very positive that they're going to get better, and they don't. And they pass away. And you're thinking of that person, and you think, wow, that person was really strong until the very, very end. That is your thought about that person. You don't think, oh, they were wrong. They were living in denial. They were idiots. You don't really, maybe you think that. I don't think that, but maybe you do. But I think the majority of people are going to be like, oh, that person really, really tried. They were really strong to the very end. And that is very commendable. That's if you get it wrong. That's what people think about you. If you care about that, which you shouldn't. But if you do, that is the case. Second thing, if you are doing the opposite, say if you're like, oh yeah, this is it. This is the bed. This is probably where, all the bad things. I don't even want to say them because I'm not that kind of person. But, you're just saying, the most negative things that probably are going to happen, but they're still very negative, like talking about death, talking about this is it, whatever it is. This is probably, last time this or this or this, that kind of thing. And then people, they see them on the bed. They're not going to think, oh, well, he was right. He was right. No, they're not going to think that. They're going to be like, he gave up too early. He gave up too early. And that's the same thing with being positive and being negative. You can be right and be negative all the time. But at the end, being right and being wrong doesn't really matter. It's about your attitude going into those problems is what people remember you by, what people respect you by. People don't respect people who are always right all the time. They're like, oh, he's smart. They don't respect that person. It's more than just being right or wrong. So that's a lot of what I feel like I've gotten a revelation on. But also some of the book is kind of broken some of that down as well. The main difference between the two groups of spies were their attitude. Can you do it? Yes or no? If God said you can, and you're like, well, there's giants in the field, there's grass, whereas there's grasshoppers, we're going to get, there's no way. Then God's not going to, you can't have that attitude. You can't, that's zero faith going into that. That is a completely logical argument, and it makes perfect sense, but that is not what God said, and that is not what he's called you to do. And you know what? You're never going to get what he's called you to do if you're living in the super logical mindset, because that's what happened to Joshua and Caleb. They were the only ones who didn't have the logical mindset, who were purely being faith-driven and leaning on God, and they were the only ones to actually go into the land of Canaan. So, don't let your dream be passed on to someone else. Don't let your calling that God has for you be passed to someone else because you're not willing to take the leap of faith into it. I'm preaching to myself, so I don't necessarily have too much more to say. But I'm kind of having a revelation of that. There's a couple other things that I feel like are starting to kind of come to me, which is good. I'm on like some stupid low-calorie thing that I'm doing, and I am pretty much on edge. So I'm a little bit more, I guess I'm a less passive. I'm more anxious, I guess. I'm not anxious. I think I'm more driven. So I think that's cool. I do feel kind of terrible, but I do feel more driven, which is good. And also, it's kind of cool because whenever you're going on like some kind of weird diety thing that you're like, okay, well, I have less calories or whatever it is, you're like, well, I'm breaking out. Well, it's probably because of burning fat. Or, I feel like dog shit today. Well, it's probably because you're burning fat. Or, I feel super tired this morning. Well, it's probably because you're, not eating what you're supposed to, or you're not eating enough, or something like that. You can eat, like, poop's been terrible. Then it's all about, well, I haven't been eating that much. So, like, all the things, it's, you can blame it pretty much all on not eating what you're supposed to be eating or not eating enough. So, it's kind of cool. It kind of gives you an out to feel bad. And it's like, well, this time this will pass. So it's not that big of a deal. Anyway, all right. Well, have a great day. A few of my friends said I talked to River the other day. He said him and Ethan have been watching some of these videos. So Ethan, if you're out there, if you're watching this video, thanks for watching. But I'm not making these videos for anybody. I'm making them for myself, helping my communication skills, helping me organize my thoughts better. This is kind of like a journal. So that hopefully can benefit somebody. And I think it's also a good thing to look back on 10 years from now and see where I'm at, see how much, how different things are. Hopefully things are very different, but I'm enjoying this time in my life. But, it's got some ups and downs to it. In your 20s is, crucial years that kind of lay the foundation for the rest of your life. And whichever way you want to go, this is the time to lay that path. So that's what I'm trying to do. All right. Have a great rest of your day. Serve the Lord. Serve people. And I don't have a catchphrase yet, so peace.